Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be using LeetCode and try to solve a problem called contains duplicate. The description reads as follows. Given an integer array, nums, return true if any value appears at least twice in the array, and return false if every element is distinct. On the first example, we have a nums array that contains 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1 appears at least twice, so the output is true. For example 2, nums has also 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, but none of these appeared at least twice, so the output is false. And then for example 3, we see some occurrences of 1, 3, 4, and 3 and 2. Everything at least appears twice, but as long as any value appears twice, the output will be true. Now, in order for us to start, we need to figure out how can we keep track of the frequency of duplicates or the occurrences. So let's write that down. Keep track of frequency. And when I say frequency, it's just finding how many times a number is appearing in the element. And a way to do that is I will be using a hash or object. We'll name a hash and oops, here we go. And for readability's sake, let's just name this frequency. Perfect. Now we need to loop through this array or whatever input is being passed in and try to maybe assign that element to the frequency with a value. So eventually we want something to look like this here. Maybe key of 1 with the value 2, key 2 with the value of 1, and key 3 with value of 1. And of course, this is based on this example here, right? So let's loop through this nums array. Loop through nums array, assign element of nums in frequency with occurrences. Okay, so we want to loop through. So we're going to use a for loop here. And we're going to start with the index of 0. And we want to loop until the n, or the amount of, we want to loop through the length of this nums array. And we want to increment by 1. Okay, and for us to visualize this, let's actually print out each element in the array. So let's run our code. Perfect. We are iterating through the array and we're going to output each element with nums I. And to make it easier as well, let's actually assign nums I to a variable called num, and we'll assign that index of nums to that num. And this should still work. Perfect. It shows up. Cool. All right, so based on what we said here, we want to loop through the nums array, and then we want to assign the element of nums in frequency with occurrences. All right, so we want to do something where frequency with the key of num equals 1. So this translates to uh, 1, key 1 with the occurrence of 1. And we can now, let's just console log this so we could make sure that that's what's happening. Key 1 has a value of 1, key 2 has a value of 1, and key 3 has a value of 1. But what we want is that we want to count the amount of times, right, the duplicates that are showing up. But the problem here is when I'm looping, I'm always assigning 1. I'm not checking to see if the value exists. So we need to do if value exists, or if key element already exists in frequency, increment by 1. Else assign element of assign key element in frequency. All right, so let's create a if frequency num is undefined, is not defined. We want to increment whatever value's there already plus 1. Perfect. Let's now, and then let's do it else. We will assign this here. Let's run the code. Okay, so we're seeing now there's 2 occurrences of 1. There's only 1 of 2 and 1 of 3. If we use the third test case, we should see even a better representation of frequencies. Right, so 1 appears 3 times, 2 appears 2 times, 3 appears 3 times, and 4 appears 2 times. Awesome. Now, if we remember from the description, it says, return true if any value appears at least twice. Meaning, we don't need to actually loop through this many times in order for us to solve this problem. We could solve this problem even faster the moment we find that there's a duplicate. So instead of us actually incrementing by 1 and getting the count, we could just get rid of this and return true. And instead of incrementing by 1, if key element already exists in frequency, return true, because the value already appears at least twice in the array. And let's actually get rid of this comment here. Let's get rid of this. All right, let's run the code. This is true. Let's now try example 2, which is the one with false. And it's undefined. We need to return false here. Return false if no duplicates. Return false. Here we go. Let's run our code. And it works. Now, there's a way in LeetCode to run all our test cases, or every example that we have here. And let's run our code. And they all pass. And let's submit. As you can see, I've been practicing a few. All right, 179 millisecond faster than 17%. All right, so this is kind of maybe slow. And the place I could see that is slow is probably that even if we are, oh, let's fix this. Even if we are returning early here, once we find a frequency, the issue is imagine a nums array that has a million elements and the duplicates happen to be in the middle. Or uh, in the case of being one, maybe one is in the beginning and there's a one at the end. We're looping through everything, assigning to frequency, um, and that's just a costly operation. Uh, if you're up to date with a lot of the new JavaScript features, uh, actually something that we could use here is a set. A set is an object that lets you store unique values of any type. The value in the set may only occur once, is unique in the set's collection. We can get rid of all of this and we can create a set. And then the good thing about the set is you can get the size of the set, and if the size of the set does not equal the nums length, that means that there is duplicates because they don't appear in the set. So we can create a set and then compare set size to nums length. All right, so let's create a set. We could do let set equal new set nums, and let's actually console log this set. All right, so for the first example, 1, 2, 3, 1, we know that 1 appears more than once. So even though it appears more than once, the set only has 3 elements because it's only the unique values of any type. So even though 1 appears more than once, it would never appear twice in the set. It will only appear once. Same thing for example 3. If we recall, 1 appears 3 times, 3 appears 3 times, 4 appears twice, 2 appears twice. The set will only show up as 1, 3, 4, 2. And in example 2, we knew there was no duplicates, so the set will have all the values. So let's get rid of console log set. And the way to determine the size of the set is when you console, it will show you the number, but you could also use set size. Right? So the first one was 3, 4, and 4. So let's compare the set size. So we could do set.size. And if it does not equal the length of the array nums, then that means that there are duplicates. All test passes. So if we submit, see now how way fast. So the first one was 179 milliseconds. Now with the set, we have 87 milliseconds. And this program is now 52, almost 53% faster than other online submissions. So you can see that there's different approaches to solving these problems. There's faster, slower, clever, creative solutions to these problems. I think as long as you take the time to solve it with whatever knowledge you have first, you're gonna start seeing different patterns, um, and as you continue to solve other problems and continue to read more on different data structures or different algorithms, you start seeing that you could go back to some of these already solved problems and tweak them to even become faster or even more uh, readable. Uh, like I mentioned earlier, there's different approaches. We could have maybe sort this out first, or maybe we could have just built the object uh, and check the occurrences. There's so many different approaches. I I expect, if whenever you're doing these, just solve them first. Try to solve it. Try to take 30 minutes. If you feel like you're past 30 minutes, even past an hour, you can't find the solution, read more. Read more into the problem, and try to continue to pseudocode until you feel like you have a solution. Try not to copy and paste other people's solution. You won't learn much from it. But as long as you continue to make progress, you start continuing to look at these patterns. I hope that you learn from this video. Please like and subscribe. I will be posting more videos as time come. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment, and I hope to build a community out of this since we are all in it together. I appreciate you. See you later.